You keep telling yourself, tomorrow I'll start, tomorrow I'll focus, tomorrow I'll finally become disciplined. But somehow, tomorrow keeps becoming another tomorrow. You know what you should do. You know what would improve your life. You know what habits you need to break. But when the moment comes, your brain chooses comfort again. And the disturbing part, most people think this happens because they are lazy. But that is not the real truth. Because your brain is not simply avoiding success, it is avoiding discomfort. And once you understand why discipline feels so hard, you'll stop seeing laziness as the real enemy. Most people think discipline is about motivation. They believe one day they will wake up, feel inspired, feel powerful, feel unstoppable, and suddenly become consistent. But motivation is unstable. It comes and goes. It rises and disappears. It depends on mood, energy, sleep, stress, environment, and emotion. That is why relying on motivation is dangerous. Because if your actions depend on how you feel, your life becomes controlled by temporary emotions. Motivation is not discipline. Discipline is different. Discipline begins when motivation disappears, but the action still happens. And this is where most people struggle, not because they are weak, not because they are broken, but because the brain naturally resists effort. Thousands of years ago, saving energy was survival. The human brain learned something simple. Do not waste energy. Avoid unnecessary effort. Choose the easiest path when possible. Back then, this made sense. Energy was limited, food was harder to find, danger was real, rest mattered. But today, that same survival system is living inside a world full of easy pleasure. Fast food, endless scrolling, notifications, short videos, instant entertainment, comfort everywhere. And your brain loves it. Not because your brain wants to ruin your life, but because easy rewards feel safe. Easy rewards feel familiar. Easy rewards require less energy. And over time, your brain starts learning a dangerous lesson. Why work hard when pleasure is one tap away? Why sit with discomfort when distraction is available instantly? Why build slowly when comfort feels good right now? Your brain prefers easy reward. This is why discipline feels painful, not because the action itself is impossible, but because your brain compares it to easier rewards. Studying feels hard because scrolling is easier. Working out feels hard because resting is easier. Building a skill feels hard because entertainment is faster. Saving money feels hard because spending gives immediate pleasure. The disciplined choice usually gives reward later. The comfortable choice gives reward now. And the brain naturally prefers now. That is the real battle. Not you versus success. Not you versus your dreams. It is your long-term self against your short-term brain. And most people lose that battle without even realizing the fight is happening. Imagine this. You plan to wake up early. At night, you feel motivated. You imagine your future self, focused, healthy, productive, in control. But morning arrives. The alarm rings. Your body feels heavy. The bed feels warm. Your mind starts negotiating. 5 more minutes. I slept late. I'll start tomorrow. One day won't matter. And just like that, your brain protects comfort using excuses that sound logical. This is important because excuses are rarely random. They are the brain defending familiar behavior. Excuses protect comfort. Your brain does not like sudden change, even positive change. Because change creates uncertainty, and uncertainty feels unsafe. So when you try to become disciplined, your brain may resist. It may create doubt. It may create tiredness. It may create excuses. It may remind you of past failures, not because discipline is wrong, but because the brain prefers familiar patterns. If procrastination is familiar, your brain will protect procrastination. If comfort is familiar, your brain will protect comfort. If quitting is familiar, your brain will protect quitting. That is why people often repeat the same cycle. They get motivated, they start strong, they feel proud, then discomfort appears, then resistance appears, then excuses appear, then they stop. And after stopping, they feel guilty. So they promise themselves again. This time will be different, but nothing changes because they are still depending on the same emotional system that failed them before. Discipline is built through repetition. Real discipline is not built by one intense moment. It is built through repeated small actions, not dramatic actions, small ones, boring ones, repeated ones. Because the brain changes through repetition. The more often you repeat a behavior, the more familiar it becomes. And the more familiar it becomes, the less resistance it creates. This is why starting small matters. Most people fail because they try to change everything all at once. They decide, I will wake up at 5, exercise every day, eat perfectly, study for 4 hours, stop wasting time, fix my entire life. And for a few days, it feels exciting. But soon, the brain becomes overwhelmed, too much change, too much discomfort, too much pressure. So it pulls them back to what feels familiar. This is why discipline needs strategy, not just desire. Instead of asking, how can I change everything? Ask, what is the smallest action I can repeat consistently? Because consistency beats intensity. Intensity impresses people. Consistency changes people. Consistency beats intensity. If you want to become disciplined, do not start by trying to become a different person overnight. Start by proving something small to your brain. 1 page, 1 push-up, 5 minutes of focus, 1 clean meal, 1 task finished, 1 promise kept. Because every small promise you keep teaches your brain, I can trust myself. And self-trust is the foundation of discipline. Most people do not lack dreams. They lack trust in themselves. They have broken promises to themselves so many times, that part of their mind no longer believes them. So when they say, I will change, their brain quietly remembers, you said that before. That is why small wins matter. They rebuild evidence. They show your brain that you are becoming someone who follows through. Discipline becomes easier when your identity starts changing. You stop saying, I am trying to be disciplined, and start becoming, I am someone who keeps promises to myself. That shift is powerful because identity controls behavior. If you see yourself as lazy, you will act from that identity. If you see yourself as inconsistent, you will expect yourself to quit. But if you begin seeing yourself as someone who does difficult things, even when they feel uncomfortable, your behavior slowly follows. Discipline is identity training. But there is one more truth most people don't want to hear. Discipline will never feel comfortable all the time. There will be days when you don't feel like doing it, days when your mind argues, days when your body feels tired, days when comfort looks more attractive than progress. That does not mean you failed. That means you reached the real training point. Because discipline is not proven when it feels easy. Discipline is proven when resistance appears and you still take the next step. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just consistently. You don't need to destroy your comfort. You need to stop letting comfort control every decision, because comfort is not always peace. Sometimes comfort is a cage that feels soft. Remember this carefully. Discipline is not punishment. It is not self-hate. It is not forcing yourself to suffer for no reason. Real discipline is self-respect in action. It is the moment you choose what your future needs over what your present mood wants. Discipline is self-respect. Your brain will resist change. It will ask for comfort. It will create excuses. It will prefer easy rewards. But every time you choose the harder right thing over the easier comfortable thing, you are training your brain. One action at a time, one promise at a time, one uncomfortable choice at a time. And eventually, what once felt difficult starts becoming normal. Not because discipline becomes easy, but because you become stronger. So the question is, are your daily habits training your brain for comfort or training your life for freedom?